YouTube, it's time, baby. Tier list for the new Team Affinity action figure series. I love the card art. Reminds me of Small Soldiers if you're a 90s kid like me. But first and foremost, who are we not going to include in this? Scherzer and Stanton, because they're not technically a part of Team Affinity. They're part of the collection for Team Affinity. So they're going to be a little bit better. Or maybe. We'll get into that. I'll rate them, but not officially on this list. And weirdly, they don't have their own card art on this Showzone builder. But shout out to Showzone for this list and using the tier list builder, showzone.gg. Guys, premium features amazing. A couple things, run over it real quick. What you can do, you could sync your account, your Showzone account to your MLB the Show account. It can give you full updates on your collection progress, show you all the cards in your inventory, and it even has advanced analytics for your hitting. Trends over games, 15 games, stuff like that. It's very cool. I'll probably do a full video breaking that all down at some point soon. But enough of that. You don't want to hear me yap too much about things outside of the subject of this video, which we'll get to right now. I'm a big fan of this to start off, this card series, and a lot of the cards are good. Now, detriment, negative, whatever, that I'm going to list before I even get into any of this, because it's going to be mostly positive. The excitement wasn't there for me as much for these cards, because a lot of these players we've seen for so many years. And they know this. I think they know this. That being said, it's been more fun using them than I thought it would be. Some are duds, some are surprising, but all of them are pretty much good. Now, with that in mind, let's get into ranking this. So I'm gonna try and maybe zoom out just a little bit more, give myself some space. Hopefully you guys can see it. I think it'll be okay. Starting off with Duke Snider. Unfortunately, my boy is, I think he's kind of unfortunately, I don't know if he's D tier, man. We can open it up. I'll go C tier because in the corner outfield, he's not terrible. I'm just sick of seeing Duke Snider cards that are just the same thing every year. Above average fielder, buns speed, just below average speed. Like, if the center fielder has to immediately be put into left or right field because they can't play center for speed or for defense reasons, mostly speed, to me it's an immediate knockdown a tier, at least. At least his hitting's pretty good. People like his swing. I don't really like it, but that's not really here nor there. Overall, I think he's a C. Might be moving down lower depending how this list goes. Tim Raines, S tier. Switch hitter with a juicy swing, balance versus left, great positional utility, being able to play left, center, and right field, and second base. I know a little bit of power versus right issues, but he's got dead red to make up for that. Fits Corbin Carroll team, which I like. That's going to be a plus. I mean, if you fit the #1 meta team in the game right now, in my opinion, it's got to be a plus. I can't ignore that, but whatever. I put him S tier. Call it bias. I love Tim Raines. I think his swing is fun. I get him being a little bit small, but whatever. Bernie Williams, S tier. Only knock on Bernie is he's not as fast in center as we're used to or that we'd like. But then again, Griffey ain't either. His defense is more than good enough to make up for it. He's a great center fielder and an elite left or right fielder, I think, especially in left field. Great bat, great offensive attributes, really well balanced, good switch hitter, swing, quirks. Probably one of the best cards in the drop. Torrey Hunter. I'm going to go down to B tier. Pretty solid all the way around, but he's jack of all trades, master of none, and slower than Bernie in center field. That combined with not being a switch hitter is a little bit of a negative, but his hitting wise, contacts 125, 113 versus lefties, 108, 108, 99 versus righties. Those numbers are weaker versus righties than I thought. 95 vision, clutch, 114 is good. Great fielder, decent arm, great reaction, speed only has 79. Pretty elite left fielder, but I think Bernie and Tim Raines, but specifically Bernie, do everything that Torrey Hunter does better and by a lot. So yes, Rich Aurelia, I'm gonna go with B tier. Swing's a little funky, and everything's great about him except for his speed. Not great. And his swing's a little bit dicey, but I'll go B tier. Mike Lowell, I'm gonna go, I might be biased, so I wanna make sure I cut that out. He's 116, 125 versus lefties, 104, 105 versus righties with 107 vision, fielding, 82. His fielding used to be a little higher. Arm accuracy is elite. I think Mike Lowell's really underrated. I'm gonna put him in A tier because, and it's one thing and one thing only. His defense is not elite enough. Speed's okay. And he doesn't play he doesn't have any secondaries. He's just third base. For that rigidity, I'm gonna give him a B, but he's still really solid. I like him a lot. And I'm actually I'll give Richard really an A tier here because he could play short, second, and third, and first base. Michael Young, perfect time for this. Michael Young is really solid. He's gonna get high B tier and not A tier, and I'll tell you why. Because Rich Aurelia does everything that Michael Young does, but a little bit better, I think. Especially on the 2000s team, but I'm not going to hold that against him. Yeah, he pretty much does everything that Michael Young does a little bit better or around the same, but plays more positions. Michael Young does not have first base. on his card, and he's not as good of a fielder as Aurelia. So for that reason alone, Aurelia's got to be an A tier. Michael Young is very underrated. Tony Oliva, I'm actually going to go C tier with Duke Snider. As much as I want to use him and try a new card out, and he's not bad. He's 108, 82 versus lefties, 125, 107 versus righties with 117 vision and 125 clutch. His fielding is pretty solid, but he's 76 speed. He's actually not terrible on right field, but when you don't have a lot of crazy speed or a cannon, it's tough. Plus, he's kind of a little bit weak versus lefties, a little bit weak, not too bad. He's just not that great left center DH. He seems more like a specialist, but I'm gonna give him a go. I'm gonna try him out soon. I'm gonna build a team. I'm gonna give him a go, and I'm gonna give a fair shot to him. I've used him a little bit, but I'm gonna go C tier just because he's missing a few tools here. So we'll go there. Doby, B tier. Elite offensive presence, but again, a center fielder with no speed, and they didn't give him second base on this card, which was a very big missed opportunity. Could have made him a lot better. 114, 112 versus righties, 104, 118 versus lefties with 104 vision max, or 105 clutch too. Fielding's great. It's great, but 65 speed, man, that's really slow for a center fielder. That's slow for an outfielder in general. I think Stanton might be faster. Like, that's just not good, man. He's a DH or a left fielder, and that's going to be a downgrade out there for you if you're going to do that. Second base would have been perfect for him, but for that reason, B tier. He rakes. He really does rake, but the fact that he's, a left fielder or DH at best is tough. Ryan Braun, A tier. Not to get too much into it. I know him off the top of my head. Very great bat, and he plays third and first as well if you need him to, which is a great help. And he runs pretty well, like 81 speed or something like that. So nice. Raul Ibanez, B tier. Just doesn't have the bat. He's killer versus righties. Doesn't have the bat to make up for the lack of defense. The defensive capabilities this card has. 78 fielding. Got a nice arm. Decent reaction. 56 speed in the corner. He's not an awful left fielder, but not great. And 98, 94 versus lefties isn't bad, especially with the 110 vision, but no, he's a specialist, and that's tough. But a great swing. Definitely someone to try. Matt Holliday, A tier. The first base secondary really helps so many mashes. We know Matt Holliday. Steve Finley, A tier. Would be probably S tier if he was a little bit faster and maybe didn't play center field. That's really it. He's just a little slow for a center fielder, but I like Finley, so I'm gonna go A tier. Johnny Damon, this might surprise some people, A tier. His attributes, he plays way higher than that. Fielding's low, arms low, but reaction's high, plus good speed. I know he's a primary center fielder, but man, give Johnny Damon a try. I'm stretching it out here a little bit, but max contacts, max vision, powers aren't that bad. Clutch is max too. Reactions 85 with 87 speed, 97 steal. He's like a really nice left fielder to have and very fun to use. It's a stretch, but I'll go with A. Ralph Kiner, D tier. No first base secondary, horrendous outfielder. He's just a DH. That holds against him. No matter what his bat does, swing's not good enough, especially to warrant all that. Cal might be a bit of a surprise here, but I'm going to go A tier. Cal is great everywhere except he's a little bit slow of foot with the 64 speed, but still that defense can make up for it. And he plays third base as well. And at third base, he's like an elite bat. 125, 116 contacts, 109, 90 powers, 121 vision with 116 clutch. Like, he's an incredible third baseman with a defense too. So give him a shot. I think his swing's a little underrated too. Mini, I'm gonna go with A tier. 112, 125 contacts, 80, 94 power, vision's 120. Fielding is solid. 84, 87. I'm gonna go with high B. Power's a little weak, but being able to play third base is always nice. Wish they give us a little bit of a different Mini this time around, or at some time, but at some point. I'd rather him be, he's a contact hitter versus lefties, balanced versus right, and I'd rather it be that way. I'd rather the harder side to hit, righty, where be the side where he gets a little bit extra power, so I'm cool with that. B tier because there's just better options. I have to keep this list pretty relative. Tony Clark, A tier, switch hitter at first base with a great swing, higher vision than we expected on the card, and if you use him in BR, he mashes. A little tall, and he's kind of slow, and defense isn't not lights out, but he's good enough. Johan Santana, oh, he's a World Series award. He can't be here. Sorry, Johan. S tier, by the way. John Kruk, B tier. He's basically Tony Gwynn, but at first base. A little more power. Fielding's all right. Reaction's great. 63 speed. Nothing to write home about. First base is a very overloaded position, so because of that, you're not going to take a Tony Gwynn type player when you could put somebody like Posada there, you know what I mean? Or you could put like a Jurickson Profar. Somebody like who's all around. It's a very stacked position. Even that Tyler Fitzgerald, 5-tool player, plays first base. It's a tough spot these days. The introduction of so many 5-tool players and stretching everybody out who's a current player to getting a 5-tool card has really crushed a lot of legends who were specialists or had some sort of niche, like Tony Gwynn or the Crux. Sandberg, S tier. S tier card. I think it's I've used them enough. I could tell contacts are great, powers are great, vision's solid, clutch is really good, 118, fielding's nice, arm's a little bit on the weaker side, reaction's all right, but speed's there. He could steal bases, and he plays short as well as third base. So that positional utility, plus having a swing that's really growing on me the more I use him, and having all around great stats and really not taking anything away from you. Even at second base and third base, shortstop, that arm is going to get there. So Rhino, S tier. Cepeda, I'm going to go Puerto Rican bias might be here. Contacts are great. Power is a little weak against righties. Vision's nice. Fielding's mediocre. Speed's mediocre, but he could play a lot of positions. I can't put him in Kiner territory because Kiner just has no position. Even no matter how good his hitting is, he's got no position. If he could play first base, he'd be in the same spot. But Cepeda has utility. His swing's pretty bad, though. I'm going to go D tier. Yes, he has positional utility over Kiner. My God, his swing is worse. So he humps the plate, man. Ding-a-ling on home plate, automatic demerit. Delgado, I'm going to go with S tier for one reason only. Not contact versus lefties anymore. Very great numbers versus righties. A higher vision Delgado gets to 90 at P5. Fielding is mid, but this Delgado can catch. That versatility is huge, and the swing is great. I'm going to go with an S tier card. I think it gives you a lot there. You know what? This fielding is so weak. And Corbin team is so good that you need someone who can throw people out. You're not going to really catch him. He's kind of hard stuck at first or DH. I'm going to go high A, but behind Aurelia. I think Aurelia might be S tier. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to bump Aurelia to S tier. He plays way too many positions way too well. He's just not in this category. He's going to be there in S tier for me. See, the list is going to change depending on how things shape out. Johnny Bench might surprise people here. I think he's A tier. You know what? Doesn't have pop time anymore. I don't know how Johnny Bench doesn't have pop time. He's actually better than people give him credit for. I know he's 97 contact versus righties. 3 more parallel levels. It's 100. That's fine. The numbers versus lefties are great too. The power's there. Vision's 96, which makes up for it. And his fielding is great. And he could play a lot of positions. First, third, left, center, right. He'd be an okay left fielder if you need him to in a pinch. For real, he actually would be. But most importantly, he plays that triangle that Jimmy Fox plays too. Catcher, first, and third. But he plays it better. I think it's a little surprising. I'm going to bump Johnny to B tier. Bump him down to B tier. He would be A if he had pop time. He's really needing that. I don't know how he doesn't have that. The best catcher of all time is there. So, well, I might argue Pudge, but Puerto Rican bias. Sorry. Carlos Pena, D tier, man. He might even be F. He just doesn't. Yes, he's 104, 125 versus righties and 96, 120 versus lefties. That's okay, all that considered, but 74 vision when there's so many cards out there who are just better in your own drop, in your own division with 104 clutch. Fielding's better than I thought, but man, he's just a guy he's not on the same level, bro. He's going to be D tier. He's just D tier, man. Rays get the short end of the stick a lot. I like Pena too. Greg Maddux, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how this card's going to pitch without a slider and a four seam added to it. He took the slider away, added the four seam. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I think safe to say Maddux is an easy up A tier. I think Maddux is too frequently seen to be S tier. And I don't think there's many S tier pitchers out there right now, to be honest with you. Tom Seaver, I love you, Tom. C tier. He does a lot of things pretty well, nothing great. He needs outlier. SDS, I'm begging you. This is my message to you guys. Look what you did to Bob Gibson when you gave him outlier. Turned him around. He went from one of the most mid to below average pitchers in the game, disrespected every year, to giving him outlier, to now he's one of the best names in the game. A lot. Always. Do it to Tom Seaver, please. He threw 100 a few times. He was an outlier for his generation. He threw hard at the time. You're going to end up losing these legends because no one uses them. That's what's going to happen, man. As a Met fan, please. Same with Duke Snyder. He's going to go by the wayside. We're going to get a one and done on Antonio Oliva because of this. It's crazy. Roy Oswalt, they're like the same exact pitcher. But I'm actually going to put Roy in D tier. I think he's slightly more readable, but also Seaver's advantage. His second pitch in his arsenal is a slider, while it's Roy's fourth. Both of them are absolutely pummeled by the fact that they have a 12-6 curveball, which is the worst curveball in the game. Used to be between that and the knuckle curve. And then the standard curve was second. They were tied for first. But knuckle curve's actually a lot better this year. It's tighter, faster, usually. Fix the 12-6 curveball or switch it up. I don't know what to tell you. It's not good. But yeah, I'm going to give Roy D. He's just, even with the attributes of him and Seaver are very similar, but Roy's a lot more readable, I think. Neither have outlier. It's whatever. David Ortiz, A tier. Even though he's got no position, but David Ortiz's swing power alone gets him into A tier. I mean, sue me. His swing is elite. I mean, I got to be fair. He doesn't play a position. He's a lock. Just because of that, he's going to go high B. He's locked at DH. He's locked at DH. Like, Tony clears on paper. This is all assuming, by the way. Like, I try to assume that everybody can hit with everybody equally, and you're just getting the most out of these cards. But like Braun does everything that Ortiz does, but can play the field. It's just tough. I don't know. I'll go high B. Sue me for that one. Adam Dunn. He's technically a World Series program reward, so I don't know if he could fit in here. So I think I'm just going to remove him for that. Trevor Hoffman, B tier. Mid reliever. Depending on how you use him, he could be good or bad. An average to below average player, you can get a couple outs with him. I think anybody decent can crush him. Raleigh Fingers, S tier. The most needed card of the drop. Raleigh Fingers, in my opinion, is top 3 guaranteed every year to be top 3 best reliever in the game if you know how to pitch with him. Forkball is incredible. The control is always insane. His motion's good enough. He's got the stamina, which is nice. So 5 S tier cards here. You know, really slides in last minute because he's super well balanced and has that first base secondary. He can play the entire infield, which is huge. Sandberg for reasons I explained. Reigns for versatility and switch hitter. Bernie Williams for being Bernie Williams, and Raleigh Fingers for being the most needed card in the entire drop. So overall, if we just pull out here a little bit and take a quick look, the most cards are in B, then A, and then S, and then D tier. But this is a great drop. They killed it. It's just, if it's exciting, that's up to the person's discretion. I don't think it is as exciting as it could be because of the legend repeats. But objectively speaking, attribute-wise, it's hard to argue with this, man. The results are there. Let me know if you guys have any different answers for your who you pick, what your list would be. If it'd be who would you switch in and out. Let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoy making these kind of videos, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.